Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Fields of Fire training manual here as we go through some of the different setups out of your training manual that you get out of the box. If you are like me and you can read this and don't understand a word, then maybe this will be the video for you, because we're going to go through it step by step so you don't need to sit there and scratch your head and try to figure it out. Again, if I make any mistakes or anything, please let me know in the comment section down below for all of the players that watch this. Second of all, thank you all for your kind words and your comments about how great part 1 was and how helpful it was. Got several people that really, inspired me to do part 2. And if it wasn't for those comments, I probably wouldn't do part 2, to be honest. I mean, it's a lot of effort, time, trouble, effort, all that to put these together. So if you do appreciate them and they help you, it only takes a couple seconds to leave a comment down below. You should probably do that because, again, the only reason I'm doing this is because several people did it in the first video. If I don't get a few people that say, great job, but it really helps me, blah, 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 then we won't do another one. It's as simple as that. Go get your field manuals and go and turn to page number 26 today, boys. We're way deep in the manual. Page 26, we're going to talk about potential contacts. I'm actually much better myself because I actually used the right module that are going to help us today with everything, with having all the pieces and parts and everything like that. So and even though I apologize for part 1 being a little wanky, it was the fact that the module wasn't loading everything because it was set up for just like generic mode. So I set this up to be Normandy mode and then just set up the map that I need for the example that we are going to be going through today. Alright, so hopefully, again, if I don't make any mistakes, we're just going to be going and reading everything out of the book, except for what we're doing is we're not reading it. I'm just going to kind of highlight all the pieces and parts they want to talk to you about. All right? And the important parts. And I'm going to kind of take the information out of the book and change it so it makes more sense for you. Okay, I am certainly not an expert at this game. No way am I an expert at this game. I am currently learning this game, and the only reason I'm doing this video is because when you're learning something, you really kind of study it, and you're analyzing, and you're watching videos, and you're reading through everything, so I kind of understand it right now. So I thought, well, I would share what I've learned with you guys. So alright, so a few things before we get started, something that we hadn't talked about because it was part of the first episode where all you do is move your units up across the map, and I said, people, if they want to go read that section, fine, but that's kind of basic. They're going to see that when we do all the other scenarios, so we don't need to worry about that. But one of the things they talk about is the fact that our company is assigned a certain location, and our company is allowed to go to the left a certain way, and to the right a certain way, and forward a certain bit, and that's it. That's all we're allowed to do, because assuming there's a platoon to our left, a platoon to our right, we don't want to have any crossfires or anything like that. So there are these markers that a lot of people don't even use that show you the left boundary, which means we can only go on these six cards here. Because of the events that happen and unfold, there is a chance that you literally can get other cards coming out that have enemy units on them. You can have them over on the side. You can actually have multiple cards, like let's see if I can find a good example. There's one. All right. If I had a unit that was firing at this hex, right, and I pulled this cemetery, which you can shoot through this We would have to pull another one, so a unit from up here with long range could shoot through the cemetery and hit our guys. So this unit way over here is outside of our boundary, and we're not allowed to go after him. So like our units cannot go and move, from here into there and into there. We're not allowed to do that. It's not a thing that's doable. We have a boundary that we need to go to. So again, you can have same thing, same situation where you have a cemetery above our line of advance. Maybe we're told not to go, do not go to the cemetery. Well, there might be an enemy that spawns all the way up here because of random potential contact pools or whatever the situation may be. Again, you can have units, same thing, like all the way over here on the right hand side. So there's many other terrains. The reason you don't put those terrains out is because you want the player to focus in on the restricted area, and you only use those under certain situations. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. So I just want you guys to be aware that there is a left, a right, and a line of advance, which I think they talk about in scenario 1, which we didn't cover. Okay? Great. But just keep in mind, you will be pulling other cards that could extend the boundaries, but you're not allowed to move units over there. Under no circumstance are you allowed to move units over there, unless the scenario specifically says otherwise. All right. So we've talked last episode about the borders being very important and reading them. And green is basically being blocked and white is being opened. You're going to find other terrains where, like this gully here, is going to be open from side to side. So a unit here in the woods, right, can see through the gully into the unit over here because of the white area, right? But if this was set up like this, okay, thank you. If this is set up like this, even though it's the same guard, they would not see one another because they're crossing the green borders. Once you cross the green border, that's all you can see. You can only see into that. So you have to watch that. And of course, sometimes the corner pieces might be a little different. Here's a goalie draw that's the opposite way of this one. This one is a left and right. This is an up and down. So you have to just watch the different terrain pieces. And let me put all these pieces away. Put our units back before I forget everything. There we go. Alright, so I just wanted to cover that in case you missed part episode 1. Which is actually part was number 2. It was the second scenario, which was called what was it called? It was called attacking an enemy position. Right. Okay. So this one is about potential contact markers. Before we get to that, because that's going to be kind of the highlight of this scenario, is I actually have the different units here now. And order from worst to best is going to be a casualty marker, which is basically that unit it's done. There's nothing you can do. They're casualties, they're wounded or killed in action. Not much you can do with these guys. Next up is going to be paralyzed units. They're almost as bad as casualties. There's dead guys. There's guys that are just frozen in fear, not able to do anything. They're not returning fire. They're not doing anything. They're just sitting there in fear. The next one is going to be the litter team. And a litter team basically is, again, just a step up from paralyzed. These guys do not want to fight. They don't want to be there anymore. They want to get the hell out of there. And the only thing that they can do is head back to the staging area or anywhere that there's friendly units that are not being shot at. They don't want to be shot at anymore. They're done being shot at. They don't like it. It's not fun for them. They realize war is war, and they just want to get the hell out of there. The one thing about the litter team is they can actually carry casualty units. That's why they have the little a gurney there. So so litter teams, they're not shooting anyone. They just want to get the hell out of there. Next up is going to be a fire team. And they are basically still functioning as a squad, but they're restricted what they can do. They cannot. We'll talk about this in a second, but they're still functioning. They're still shooting. They're still able to do things. Now they can only shoot at close range, which is going to be one card adjacent. And they're using small arms fire, but they will stay in the fight. They're still shooting. They're hunkered down, kind of, trying to pick off the enemies and do things. And then, of course, you have your assault team, which is the kind of the best of the bunch, sort of say, in that they are fully functioning. They will move into territory to try to capture territory, to try and capture objectives, to scout areas. They will do all that. The main difference between these two units, and the reason one is higher than the other, and what I mean by higher is like the hierarchy of good to bad, right? And these are slightly better, is if we look at the assault team, and again, I hate to go over this like in depth for some people that might go, oh, I know all this, Jester. Why are you doing this? Well, there's probably some people that don't. And I find that Fields of Fire, and this is just me talking and trying to teach it to you, is Fields of Fire is all about understanding the concepts, the core concepts. And once you understand the core concepts, everything else kind of makes much more sense. So I'm going to try to teach you the core concepts, which will make other things make more sense. Okay? The main difference between an assault team and a fire team, which are going to be right here. Assault teams can move into other locations that have enemies. They can move and scout into different terrain. They can go anywhere. There's no restrictions except for they can't do a platoon move or a platoon infiltrate. That's the only thing that they cannot do. So they can go into, if there's an enemy unit right, we'll say there's a unit right there, right? And we have one of our assault units, say here. We could move that assault unit right in there, and they would then be shooting at one another and, trying to kill one another, right? The thing with the fire team is, fire teams cannot move or infiltrate into an adjacent, can move or infiltrate into an adjacent card, but only if the card is a staging area or is friendly occupied and has no volume of fire on it. So what does all that mean? Well, here's our staging area. So a fire team that's here would not be able to move up into there because it's not friendly occupied. Our guys would presumably be shooting at it, so there would be a volume of fire marker on there, probably a small arms fire marker, a VOF marker on there as we are shooting at it. Okay? So they will only move into locations that are a staging area or is friendly occupied. So there's other people there and there other allied people, and there's no volume of fire going in on there. So nobody else is shooting into that space because they're very hesitant to do things like that. So that's why fire teams, although they are a good source for you, they are a great source for you, actually. The downside with them is they don't want to go and scout new territory. They don't want to go into enemy locations, and they don't like going where there's fire going. So that's the big difference about those. So you would say to yourself, oh, Jester, I guess you would always use an assault team then, right? You would always use an assault team? 95% of the time you will try to use an assault team, but here's the main problem with the assault team. What's the main problem? Is this right here. Is P. They can only shoot point blank, which means they can only shoot in the territory, the card they're in. So for us, like here, like if this was the situation, right, and we know there's a unit over there, these guys would not be shooting at them because they only can shoot point blank. So they would have to move in there. That's why they're an assault team. So assault teams are great for scouting territory and for finding enemies and kind of rooting people out, but they're not great at damaging enemies because they have to be in the same location as them to be able to shoot them. So just keep that in mind. So there will be situations where sometimes, for example, you've moved a platoon up here. Right? Let's say there's an enemy back here. We've moved a platoon up here, and we're in cover, and we have, everyone's in cover, and now we want to try to get some crossfire in here or whatever. And so, we move another platoon up here, right? And now we're like, oh, we've taken damage, and now we have a fire team, right? We have a fire team. So we would want to exert we want to move this platoon out of here, but we want to leave somebody here that would leave a crossfire in here. Because the PDF, again, I'm not putting out all the PDFs because this is just an example for you guys. So I've detached a team, but instead of detaching an assault team, which wouldn't be able to shoot, I'm going to detach a fire team because maybe for some reason I want to move the platoon over here. And these guys will then be able to continue firing over on these guys to try to kill them. All right. So, that's a lot of examples and everything, but I'm just kind of giving you examples of why or how you may or may not want to. I think that's everything, right? So assault teams are better in that they can move anywhere they want to go. They can do anything. They can shoot anyone. They can scout. They can move. They can do everything. Fire teams are restricted in that they cannot move into different territories. They can't scout locations. They can't, move into enemy territory, move into unoccupied locations. But what they can do is they can shoot. That's why they're a fire team. So just remember, fire teams can fire, and only one card. The downside with the assault team, which can do everything, is the downside to them is they are only point blank. So these guys down here, these three are basically your your issues, right? Litter team, paralyzed team, and casualties. These are kind of the ones that are like, oh boy, what are we going to do? Because now we can't shoot, we can't fire, we can't move. You're restricted on everything. And again, if you're not sure, please come reference this chart, and it'll tell you exactly what you can do or cannot do with all of them. And again, learning all this actually takes a little bit of time. So hopefully by just covering it with you guys makes a little bit more sense. All right, now what I'm going to do here is put everything back the way it was. So this whole mission is about learning about potential contacts. So there is a system they use where when you move into a unit, into a location that has a potential contact marker, You're going to draw a certain number of cards based upon this current situation of the battlefield to find out if you've run into an enemy or not. The more, how do I put it? The more difficult the situation currently is, the easier it will be for you to not run into more contacts. But you can still run into contacts. There are 3 levels. A is extremely dangerous. I mean, almost for sure bad things are going to happen. B is kind of in the middle of the road. And C is kind of low end. So A, B, and C are your 3 different kind of contact levels. So if I was to move, and you're going to see that in this scenario, if I was to move these squads into this spot, into this spot, and this spot, we're going to look at every single one of these locations to find out, which means we could end up having 3 enemies spawn to attack us. We could have 3 enemies spawn to attack us. So uncovering a lot of potential contacts is going to be risky, to say the least. The other thing that comes into mind is your amount of contact that is currently going on in the battlefield. The more heavily engaged you are, the less chance somebody else is going to show up, right? Because you've already engaged the enemies that are probably in the area. So you can see, basically, there is different levels. No contact means, in the beginning of this scenario, nobody's shooting at nobody, so you're at no contact. And so you can see, like, if I move into sections A or B, it means automatically we're going to find somebody. We don't even need to pull cards. It's just automatically going to happen. If we have, let's see, so let's go to, we're going to toggle the state, I bet. Yes, so state number 2 is going to be contact. Contact is 1 friendly occupied or 1 enemy card that has a VOF marker on it. And at least 1 spotted enemy is on the map. So that, like, first time somebody's shooting at us, basically, we've come up here to this contact here. I'm just going to set up a quick situation. And we've uncovered this guy here. He's going to be shooting at us with the VOF of small arms. We're going to be, copy, clone. We're going to be shooting at him with VOF. We'll just assume both people are spotted, right? So this guy's spotted, we're shooting at one another. The PDF marker, let's flip that over. Both teams are shooting at one another, boom, boom, boom. So we have a VOF on 2 locations. In that case, we are going to be in state 3, which is going to be engaged. Engaged is 2 or more occupied guards with the VOF marker. So contact is 1 guard, engaged is 2 guards, and heavily engaged is at least 1 card with a volume of fire that has both enemy and friendly units on it. So that is obviously just like it sounds. If we move into there, boom, 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 we're still shooting at one another. We are heavily engaged with the enemies, right? Because we're fighting one another. So there's 4 different states that you're going to be using for this. I'm just going to pull these aside for a second. Again, it's going to be no contact. Just your basic state. State 1, which is going to be contact, which is 1 card that has a VOF marker. There's at least 1 enemy on the map, etc., etc. Next up is volume 3. That's going to be 2 cards engaged. I'm shooting at them, or maybe they got 2 enemies shooting at us. If there's 2 enemies shooting at us, that's still 2 cards with the VOF marker. Or maybe we're shooting at 2 enemies. Whatever. And then, of course, heavily engaged, at least 1 card with the VOF has both enemy and friendly units on it is going to be state 4. Now, depending on your engagement level and the contact marker that you're entering into, it tells you how many cards that you are going to be looking at. So you can see if you're engaged and you're going into an A, it's going to be 5 cards. If you are going into a B and you're in contact, it's going to be 5 cards. If you are going into C and you're heavily engaged, it's only 1 card. So based upon that situation, and this is not adjusted for like veterancy or green or anything like that. It's just, this is one of these things you're going to learn pretty quickly to remember and use. And the most important one is you're going to remember anytime you don't have any contact and you're going into A or B, it's automatic. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be drawing cards and you're going to look up here at the top and you're going to look for the word contact, which looks like, oh my God, there's a lot of cover there. Rally, 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 cover, more cover, more cover. There's a contact just like that. This is not it. It is this. You're looking for the word contact. All right. Let's shuffle that deck up. Boy, that deck needs to be shuffled. Woo, that was nasty. Okay. So with all of that said, I think we are ready to actually get to the actual scenario. Now that you've understand the basic concepts, this is going to be pretty easy for you guys to remember now. Because again, we only are dealing with a lone platoon. We're dealing with some squads and a couple attachments, a light machine gun, an AT gun, and a mortar forward observer. That's all we have. And our job is to just go in and check out these different potential contacts here and here. You notice these are A, and these are B, and B. And there's nothing up here right now, but some of these that might spawn somewhere else. And the things that are going to spawn are going to be these machine guns, and there is going to be a squad. So, and you will always find, let me see if I can show you, in our rule booklet, if you're following along on page, what number is this? Page 26. You're always going to find a chart that gives you your package assignments. So when you do engage, every scenario will have its own chart. So when you get a scenario to play a scenario, you should look at that chart and look at it, because that's the enemies you're going to come. You can see there's going to be mortars that might come in. There's a light machine gun or a squad. Those are the 3 things that we are going to be experiencing in this scenario, and whether or not they're spotted and where they're going to be, where their location is. And we'll get to this in a second. All right, so here we go. So page 26. Most of this, I'm now going to gloss over most of this because I've covered just about everything that's important. It talks about getting out all the different pieces. It talks about the placement package. I'm actually going to go over this when we actually have this scenario and we have an engagement. I'm going to actually show you this and talk about it. Okay, so we're just going to gloss over there. There are special rules which you should look at in this scenario. Whenever the enemy is using the mortar attack, whenever he does the mortar attack, he only comes with 2 fire, 2 mortar. So he would come with 2 like that. So he has 2 fire missions of 81 millimeter mortars, and then it tells you how many cards he would draw to attempt to call for fire. Okay. Right. Okay, example. We're going to go right into the example plane now. So basically, again, we're not covering, we're not doing a lot. Where is it? It's over here. That's where it is. We're ignoring the higher headquarter events. We don't need to worry about that. It's not a defensive mission, so we can completely ignore all of this. Again, we would activate battalion headquarters, but there is, in this scenario, it's not. We are going to activate the company headquarters, which is going to give us a certain number of impulses to give to our 1st Platoon headquarters. And I think this would be a great opportunity now that I actually have the chart to show you the company headquarters. And so you would have 1st Platoon, 2nd Platoon, 3rd Platoon, 1st Sergeant, XO, and all these units on the different locations here. Where's this is the XO, goes there. 1st Sergeant would go there. 2nd Platoon would go there. 3rd Platoon would go there, and the company headquarters. And then we have General Initiative. All right, you would assign all your different smoke resources and all that, which we'll learn about down the line. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that right now. But I'm just showing you the company headquarters is going to get its activations through the platoon headquarters through the radio. The battalion TACnet. The battalion TACnet. He's got a radio. The battalion's calling him and saying, all right, here's what I want you guys to do. Now, you guys are going to be going through this open field, and I want you guys to head up past the orchards and into the woods. And I want you to stop when you get to the edge, through the woods. Once you go through the woods and make sure the woods are secure, I want you boys to stop, right? So he's giving the orders to the company headquarters. Right, so the company headquarters then goes, okay, thank you, sir. I will do that right away, immediately. Let's go. All right, hoorah. Right, and so the company headquarters then goes, hey, guys, 1st Platoon, 2nd Platoon, 3rd Platoon, boom, boom, boom. I want you to do this. I want you to do that, blah, blah, blah. So you understand what we're doing here, right? So we will shuffle. Right, and so we are doing the company headquarters is going to assign us orders, and boom, we've been assigned. He's activated us, and so the headquarters is now going to roll to see how many activations he gets. And in this case, okay, I'm going to draw cards again. You would only draw one card. And you would look at the number right here in the top corner, and that's actually the number we need. Because in the example of play, they draw a 6. So what you would do is at company headquarters has been completed. Boom. So they're done, right? They're going to activate first platoon. And 1st Platoon is now going to get 6 orders that it can do to its units. And he's going to spend 1, 2, 3 of those orders. 1, 2, 3 of those orders. He's going to assign 1st squad of 1st Platoon to go here. 2nd squad of 2nd Platoon to go here. And 3rd squad of 3rd Platoon to go here. Right. I should mention that you learn about this as well now. When you're drawing for commands, you will get bonuses and penalties. Where are they? That's command limitation. Right here. Current activity is no contact. You get +1 to your commands. In this scenario, he's not pinned, he's not green, he's not veteran, he's not undercover, he's none of these things. So, but he does get a +1 because why? Because we have no contact, no enemies. So it's easier to give orders. So he would get actually 6 + 1. he would go to 7. And then he's going to spend 1, 2, 3 of those to order the 3 platoons. You boys go over here, you boys come up here, you boys go up there. Now, we're going to learn in a little while that this is really bad, especially because we have an open field, an open field, and an open field without any kind of support, any kind of anything, anywhere. This is really bad. You don't want to do this, and that's why I was even considering skipping this, is because it teaches you a lot of bad things. You do not want to be moving your full squads up there, or you don't want to move your full squads up there into open fields with potential contact A's. Why do we know that? Because we've already looked at this. We know the enemy's going to be shooting at us, and this is this is another rule that you should know, is when you have a contact, the enemy must be able to shoot you. It must be able to shoot you, and it will be shooting you. So we know that when we have a contact, the enemy is going to be shooting at us automatically. That's why we have a contact. And so if I move these guys in there, it's not like, oh, I can just draw the cards and hope that we don't draw it. We know it's coming. So, like, you don't want to be moving your full squads up here. You're just going to get a bunch of guys killed. But that's what they're going to be teaching you, is how to do all these things and how bad it is, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's why we're covering it. All right. All right. All right. And he's going to, so that is the orders that first platoon is going to assign. Remember, he had 7. He assigned first platoon, second platoon, and third platoon. And then what he's going to do is save the rest. And you notice there are certain situations here that you can only save so many if you're line unit or green unit, whether it's nighttime or daytime and all that. So based upon this situation, you may not be able to save as many commands. But in this case, saving commands is good, because if you draw 1 next time, right, and you spend all these, then you only have 1 activation. With 4 saved, banked, if he draws a 1 next time, he'll still have 5 and be able to do a lot. So this is where you're going to be moving these up and down, activating, and using your activations. Okay, so he's going to move the platoons out. He moves the platoons out, and then he's like, okay, I want to see what happens before we send the rest of the boys up there. Let's see what happens. So we're just going to save the rest of the orders, and that's a good move. Yay. All right. All right. So we've done this. We don't have to do this. So if the company headquarters didn't get initiated, or the platoon headquarters didn't get initiated by somebody else, they can do it themselves, but they get less commands. So we don't do any of that. And then the first sergeant and the XO and all those guys would activate. But again, we don't have those in this scenario. But we do have is general impulses. And I'm going to leave little cubes next to this to show you guys which ones of these sections we're dealing with. So general impulses, again, I am just going to draw cards until it matches what's in the rule booklet. You would normally only draw 1 card and look at the little number. Anytime you're dealing with general initiative, it's the little number. And we're on a roll. We're 2 for 2. So this is the number they roll, is a 2. And normally in a full scenario, that's how many you would get. But when you're dealing with just a single platoon, which is what we're dealing with, if you're in a single platoon mission, half the number rounding down. So 2 orders, half of that is 1. We all know that. All right, so we got 1 order that anyone can do something. And in this situation, we're going to have these guys right here, second squad. Each of the different cards has a different cover on them, and in the bottom left hand side it shows you what kind of cover it is. In this case it's light cover, and it shows you how many there are there. So there's one possible little location that you could find that's going to give you a little bit of cover. If we look at, say, this one up here in the woods, there are 3 different locations that would give you some nice cover. And there's all kinds of different kinds as well. If we look at, like this one here is a building, so that would even be better because it's a harder cover as opposed to the soft cover. And I'm trying to think if there's any others in Normandy. Probably not. Hill is nothing. Yeah, so basically just your buildings or your light cover. So we're going to tell our guys to try and find cover because right now, remember, I'm sure some of you guys are like, hey, wait a minute. I thought those guys, when they move, they get exposed. Yes, I'm still catching up with myself. I apologize. When they move, they get a -2. Remember, minus are bad, pluses are good. If we remember our look at our combat tables, all the bad things are going to be up at the top and all the good things are at the bottom. So minuses are bad. So being a -2 is bad. Being a +2 is good. So that's being exposed, obviously, is bad. So we want to try and find some cover. And if we do find some cover, you can see the cover markers. There is all kinds of different ones, but the one we're going to match is the one that's on the thing, which is going to give us +1, which is not a lot, but it can be something. But there's all kinds of different cover that you might experience. You have foxholes, you got trenches, you got bunkers, you got pillboxes, you have deep bunkers, and of course you have just the normal cover. So each one of these, obviously pluses are good, more cover. And then of course you might have buildings with a church tower, a strong building, a light building, or an upper story. We'll get to that eventually, but I'm just giving you that information ahead of time. Okay, so we want these guys to see if they can find cover. How do we know if they find cover? Well, we look at this, which tells you how many cards you will draw to see if you can find cover. In this case, it's just 2 cards. Normally, that would be modified by, that's spotting attempt, modified by, that's just spotting. Let's see here. So, blah, 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 blah. Everything I just talked to you about is already in the book. Okay, so we're going to draw 2 cards, and we're looking for the word cover at the top. Just like this is rally, it's going to say cover. And we're going to draw 2 cards, because, again, it tells us there's 2 cards. Oh, this one down here. There's 2 cards to draw. So we're going to draw 2 cards and look for the word cover. Draw 1. Nothing. Draw 2. Cover. But this is not what happens in real life. Oh. I'm going to redo that because in the example play, we don't get cover. We don't find anything. So that is our one general initiative that we had. This has now been used. Boom. And we can mark it off as done. So general initiatives are done as well. Our first platoon is saved orders. So that's going to help us down the line. All right, how many guys are with me still? Am I like Going too fast, too slow, too easy, I don't know. Well, anyways. Alright, so let's look at the sequence of play. So next thing we do is enemy activation phase. Right now there's no enemies on the board, so we don't have to do that. There is a capture phase where there's paralyzed teams and litter teams who might be captured by enemies. We don't have to do any of that. We would check for retreats. Then we would do AT combat. There's no vehicles in this game, so we move on. We would do any existing incoming attacks. We would flip over any pending markers for active sides. And now this is where the next section is. So you can see we've only done 1, 2, 3 things out of all these things. So you can see it's definitely programmed instructions. Alright, for each card with the PC marker, potential contact marker, and a friendly unit, draw a number of action cards indicated by the potential contact draw chart based on the PC marker and the current activity level. If the card states contact with the enemy has been made, determine the enemy package to use and the placements per rules 8.3. Place any applicable volume of fire and PDF markers and update the current activity before moving on to the next PC marker. Okay, so we're doing all of this stuff, and again, that's all about the potential contact markers right here. All right. So this is another huge concept in the game, is they want everything to be randomized. You don't get to just say, oh, you know what? We're gonna activate over here first because that's the best terrain I can do. Nope, you can't do that in this game. Whenever there is multiple things that fall under the same section, so I have a potential contact marker with our guys. There is a step-by-step process you do. You look at all of the potential contacts that are A, and then you will do those first. Then you'll do all the B's. Then you'll do all the C's. Well, in our case, we have 3 A's, right? So we have 3 units on there, all on the A's. So it could be any one of those 3. So what we have to do is randomly determine which one of these is going to be done. On the bottom of each one of the cards is a random 2, a random 3, a random 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we're going to look at the random 3 section, and we're going to draw a card until it matches what happens in the rule booklet. And that's perfect. We rolled a random 3 and it's number 2, so we're going to look at this contact first, right here. So again, you would assign 1, 2, 3, left to right, right to left, whatever you do. I was just doing left to right. This is number 1, this is number 2, and this is number 3, just like normal people. But you can do it any way you want as long as you know which numbers you're using in your head. So this contact marker is going to be A. We have no contact, so it's auto. It's just automatically going to happen. Okay, and everything I've already explained to you is covered over in the rules. And now what we need to do is we need to roll for our package. And this is where I will share my screen with you again so you can kind of see. There is a PCA and a PCB. So we're on an A, and we're going to roll a random D4. On a 1, it's going to be package number 1. And on a 2, 3, or 4, it's going to be package 2. So 75% chance is going to be package 2. Although if we roll 1, it's going to be package 1. So we're going to simply, if it was a PCB, you would draw a random 5. On a 1, it'd be package 1. On a 2, it'd be package 3. On a 3 or 4, it'd be package 4. And on a 5, it'll be package 5. So that's what this is how you do this. as you look at the potential contact marker, and you're going to roll a random number. So in our case, it's a package A. We're going to roll a D4. On a 1, it's package 1. And on a 2, 3, or 4, it's package 2. And you can see the packages. On a 1, it's going to be a mortar. On package 2, it's going to be a light machine gun in a foxhole. So we're going to randomly roll and find out what we get. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to flip a card. And we'll see. We're going to do a random 4. Draw the card. A random 4 is a 1, and I think that's what we need. Yes, that is exactly what we need. We're doing great with the draws today. That is awesome. It's almost like I set the deck up to do this, but I haven't. 4 is a 1. Again, in our package, a 1 is going to be a incoming mortar. All right, so the result is a 1, which the package list is an incoming mortar, -3 VOF with no spotter, with placement instructions on the triggering card. So, on the triggering card, we have... Whoa, and I didn't mean to delete. I meant to... That's a white phosphorus. We don't want that one. Alright, we got incoming coming in on these guys' heads. This potential contact marker will go away. And our guys are exposed. You can see how bad this is going to be. It's a -3 and -2 for being exposed. He's at -5. He's got no terrain bonus here. So this squad is in big trouble. Like, this is why you don't do what they're showing you, and I think this is why they're teaching you the hard way. It's like teaching your kid, you know, don't do something because you're going to get smacked if you do. Okay. All right. It's going to be on the triggering card. Incoming packages always drop on the unit that triggered them. So that important bit is to take note of the enemy description, is that the enemy spawner is going to be, no enemy spawner is going to be placed. While on the map, enemy spawners make attempts to call for fire in exactly the same way as you do. Their target priorities are blah, blah, blah. But in this case, there's no spotter to worry about. Just the mortar bombs are going to rain down on our squad. Hopefully they will find place sometime to take cover. The PC marker is removed, and an incoming marker with a volume of fire rating of -3 is placed on the activated side on the field row on row 1, column 2. The pending side of the counter is not used in this attack, will take effect right away on this turn's main combat effects segment. The mortar is already amongst our troops before they even know what had hit them. At this point, before any other PC markers are checked, the activity level is changed. So yes, we are no longer not in contact. We are now, what state are we in, boys? We are in contact because we have one friendly occupied or enemy occupied card with a VOF marker. Alright, we draw an action card and refer to the random number to see. Now we need to check these other two, right? We still have 2 more contacts. This is why you probably don't want to do what they're showing you, but again, we're teaching you the process, so you have to just go with it. Okay, so we have a 1 and a 2, so we're rolling a random 2. All right, and we're going to draw a card, so we're going to do a random 2. And the random 2, again, you would just draw one card, but I need the card to match up what happens in the book. All right, so in this case, a random 2 is a 2. And so we're going to check potential contact number 2. So now our potential contact is not automatic anymore. All right, it's going to be contact a marker. So it's 7 cards. 7 cards, which is still a lot of cards. All right, and so we're going to draw 7 cards, and we're looking, oh, nope, that's not what I meant to do, sorry. We're looking for the word contact. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, we made it through. But in the example of play, unfortunately, we have to take these 7 cards back. Oops. Do them again. 1, 2, 3, because they want us to have more. 4, 5, 6. I got to take these 7 cards back and do it again. Sorry. I thought for sure we'd have an enemy, but I guess we got lucky. So 7 cards again. And I'm trying to match the example of play that's in the rule booklet. This is not just free play where you, hopefully one of these days we'll actually do a free play where you get to make the decisions and experience everything on your own, which is hopefully coming up sometime soon. All right, so 7 cards again. 1, 2, okay. Whenever you get the reshuffle, it doesn't count, so that's still card 2. Then we reshuffle. And then we do card 3. Oh boy, there it is. 4, 5, 6, 7. You always draw the amount of cards that you needed, whether it's on the first card or the last card, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if there's every card has contact. You only ever get 1 contact ever. So same thing, it's a random D4 to find out. And again, it's a 1 is going to be another mortar coming in, and a 2, 3, or 4 is going to be a light machine gun. So let's draw a random 4. A random 4 is a 2. So that is a light machine gun. All right, so if we go back to our package, let's look at our package again. And this is going to be kind of the important thing here. Is going back. All right. So we have light machine gun in foxholes. Is it spotted? No. And it's going to come in on a random card in row 2. Random card on row 2. So it's not spotted. It's a light machine gun in foxholes. And it's coming in on a random card in row 2. So we know what's coming on. This is row 1. This is row 2. This is row 3. This is our staging area. So it's going to come in over here somewhere. And we have a light machine gun here and a foxholes. Just going to grab a couple extras. All right, so foxholes with our light machine gun. Now we have a random, we got a random row 2 here. And so we're, again, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're looking for a random 3 here. Okay, so this comes into, and I hate to stop this, all right? But this is one of the most important rules in Fields of Fire is when you have a contact and they're spawning, they must be able to shoot the enemy that exposed them. So we are rolling for this guy over here, right? So we're rolling for this guy over here. This is going to show us two great examples, right? All right. So these guys must be getting shot from the enemy that spawns. And if it says it's going to be a random card from roll 2, right? If we were to roll card 1, right? These guys do not have line of sight to these guys. Line of sight in this game, even though this is open and this is open, everyone, including myself, would say to me, oh yeah, they see one another, no problem. No, not in Fields of Fire. Fields of Fire uses the cards as line of sight. So this unit can see down this way into this hex and into this hex. He can see down this row here. He can see in this hex and into this hex and into that hex. But this guy right here could not see this hex. There's no way for them to see one another. Right? So it is a random hex.
Do the lunch.
What do you want to do?
Anything here?
All right. Give me like 10 minutes and then we'll go. All right, so I'm going to have to go on a little bit early, so we'll get to part 2 here in a minute, or later today I'll do part 2. But this is an important part to know in Fields of Fire, is making sure units have line of sight. Now we know, like I know, you know, everyone in the world knows, this is all open hex, this is all open hex, these are open hexes, these are all open. This guy is sitting in the orchard, and he should be able to look across and see these guys. No, he can't see these. He cannot see them. He cannot shoot them. He can only shoot here and into here. He can shoot into here. He can shoot into here. And learning this and using the enemy's blind spots is part of the understanding how to play the game, right? Is, okay, if this guy is spawning, like, and he can see. Like, if this guy spawns here, like, he can't shoot over here. Like, if this guy is here, he can shoot into this space here. He can shoot into this space. He can't shoot into this one. So, like, we could move all of our guys over here and be completely safe because this guy can't shoot them. He can't see them. And even though it's open territory, everything is wide open. It's an open field. We all assume they can see one another. They can't in this game. And that's an important concept. Two important concepts to learn in this is when you spawn an enemy, they must be able to attack the enemy that spawned them. There is an exception if you play Vietnam and you're playing the Vietnam where they can actually spawn somewhere else, which is a different issue. But in normal Fields of Fire, they have to be able to spawn one another. So in this case, they have to be able to shoot, and they have to be able to attack the enemy that spawned them. So the light machine gun is going to go into a random hex in row 2, and everything that I just talked about is explained in the rules. Probably not as good as I explained it, though. We're going to place this guy, and then we're going to be calling it an episode, though, but because I wanted to cover these two very important rules. All right. Under the 2 column, we get a result of 2. Okay, so yes, we know that he would spawn here. He's got to be able to shoot here, so it's going to be a random 1 or 2. Only this space and this space, only these two can shoot at them, so he's either going to be in the open fields or he's going to be here. So we're going to draw a random 2, draw a card. No. Come on! I need a 2! There we go. So normally, again, you just draw one card, you get the result, but I want to match what's in the book. So a 2 is a 2, so he's going to spawn over here. He is unspotted, which means we cannot shoot him. We don't know where he is. So there is a marker for that. Unspotted. Unspotted. Where are you, unspotted? Where? I know you're around here somewhere. Where is the unspotted markers? I'm not 100% sure where they are. Oh, right there they are. Duh, right in front of my face. So he comes in unspotted, which means we are not shooting at him. Nobody knows where he is. But he is shooting at us with his little PDF. Bloop. Right? And we're going to rotate this around. So he's shooting at us. And what kind of shooting is he doing? He's doing A, automatic. He's doing L, long range, but it just happens to be right next door. And so we're looking at a VOF of automatic, which is... Oh, I bet you... Whoa, cowboy. State 2 is probably going to be automatic. There we go. Automatic fire coming in on our boys here. Boom. So you have a volume of fire marker coming in. These guys have spawned. They are shooting straight in at us. Yes, they can see us. This contact marker goes away. We don't need it ever again. And we have 2 guys that, again, this guy is a -5. This guy is a -3. They're all going to die a horrible death. You can see minus, bad, 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 bad. You do not want to be minus in this game if at all possible. So, that is going to be the end of page 29 for us. I'm just trying to make sure. So the light machine gun immediately opens fire. We place the PDF. We don't see it, so we don't. But, right, we do change. We are now engaged. Because why? Because we have now got 2 locations with VOF markers on it. 2, not 1. 2. We got 1 here, and we got 1 here. So, that's 2 markers. I like to keep them up at the top, so I remember. Coming in, so now we are engaged. So that will make it a little bit harder for us to get another enemy, but it's still possible. I mean, we're still drawing cards, and you could end up getting them. But we'll get to the end of page 29 today in this episode, and we will pick this up in part 2. I appreciate everyone's thoughts, comments, suggestions, questions. If I did something wrong, forgot something, whatever, let me know so I can let everyone know in the next episode if we forgot to do something or if I misspoke about something. I am not an expert. I'm just trying to help the people out that don't know as much as I know. So I'm not trying to claim that I'm the Fields of Fire expert. That is not it at all. I'm just trying to get us by and get what I've learned out to the people. You all out there. Again, if you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Leave a comment down below if you want to see part 2 or, if you're excited for this series to continue and it's helping you. I know it's helping a couple people out there. I would like to know if it's helping more people. If it is, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Take care, guys.